If only you guys knew what I had to do to get this episode together. Hi everyone, it's Melissa, your plantita abogada here at Tasteful Nodes, coming to you today with an update video. So today's video is in response to someone who asked for an update regarding Pafcal. As you guys know, I've been using Pafcal for a while now, and I've got some updates, some comparisons. All of it's anecdotal. It's all based on my experiences. So before I get into anything, let's go run through my 3 disclaimers really quick. 1, KKB tayo, kanya-kanyang bayad. To our Western friends, it means we each pay our own way. So I've got some really cool plants on the table today, and they're tempting. You know, don't spend your rent money, okay? Fantastic. And then number 2. Like I said earlier, I'm not an expert. Anything I share will be anecdotal based on my personal observations and experiences. Any factual information that I do provide, I'll be sure to flash the source on the screen, and I'll have them in the description box down below as well. And that leads me to number 3. For the 3rd disclaimer, I want you to go ahead and take what I say with a grain of salt. You know, growing conditions are different for everyone. Pricing is different for everyone. Find the experts who deal with this in your area to find out, you know, how do you make it work even better? How do you find this at a decent price? What kind of plants can you use them on in your area? So find the people in your area who are experts and can help guide you with using Pafcal. Now, gosh, it's been a year since I started my Pafcal journey. So number 1, what is Pafcal? Pafcal, I've discussed this in at least 2 of my videos. I'll go ahead and flash them on the screen right now. It's focused on the growth of the plant. So the plant itself. I would say Pafcal is a groundbreaking material that's produced by the Toyota Suntory Group. What it is, it's a spongy material. I can't even tell you what's inside it because, I mean, you can't really tell. It's brown, it's like a sponge, and it holds just the right amount of water that your plant needs. At least that's what they say in their materials, right? And I'll get into that a little bit later, but actually Pafcal can hold a lot more than that. With Pafcal, what it's supposed to do is make your life easier because it takes the guesswork out of watering. You simply moisten it to use, squeeze out the excess water, plant your plant in it, and you're done. That's it. You need to, of course, get it wet every so often, depending on your conditions again. If your pot has drainage holes at the bottom, it's easy. You just let gravity and the drainage holes do their work, right? What I would do is I would just normally water it, you know, until the water starts draining out. But if it's a container that doesn't have holes at the bottom, all you need to do is go to your sink, spill out the excess water, voila, you're done. Right? Super easy. Today, I want to go ahead and show comparison. So one of the original plants that I used for Pafcal was a Monstera deliciosa, and I'll go ahead and flash a video on the screen of that deliciosa and why it's not on the table. I mean, it grew so well. So that Monstera deliciosa is actually a reverted Monstera Aurea, sibling of this plant right here. So I cut up my Monstera Aurea because it lost variegation, and I cut it up into 5 pieces. 2 of them showed variegation, 1 eventually lost variegation again, and that was that guy. What's interesting is that once it started outgrowing its Pafcal, I mean, there were so many roots. I had to take the Pafcal off the roots, and this is why I have this guy here, because he's doing the same thing. Look at those roots. So he's just destroyed all the Pafcal essentially. I mean, he's hungry for more. There's not enough, but in terms of roots, yeah, check these out. Lots and lots of roots and very healthy. All you would need to do to reuse is just simply remove, put aside. Simply remove, make sure there's no organic matter such as roots. Put aside, right? And you're done. So that's exactly what I had to do with Monstera Aurea. And I mean, it has its own pole now, so it's growing in a different condition, but man, it is massive. And it's quite wonderful. But since I don't have that original Monstera Aurea to show everyone, I have all of these guys. And all of these guys are my Pafcal babies growing in different conditions. Like this guy has drainage holes at the bottom of the pot. This guy does not have drainage holes at the bottom of the pot. This one's growing in a fishbowl. This massive philodendron golden dragon narrow form is growing in a fishbowl. This guy is growing in a pot that has drainage holes. But this is where my comparison comes in. So this is part 2. How does Pafcal work for me? Pafcal works wonderfully. I went on vacation for 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks. I left my plants to Mother Nature and Pafcal. So I had some plants that were in the potting shed, covered roof. Those were the Pafcal guys, right? I couldn't do anything about it. I had to leave them there because I had no more space to put them anywhere else. Now, this guy was in the potting shed, this guy, those 3. We're used to seeing snakes on the farm because we have rats on the farm. We're surrounded by rice fields. We have no neighbors, we're surrounded by rice fields. So rats are inevitable and so are snakes. But as we got this guy today, there was a snake in the potting shed. And it wasn't your, non-venomous wolf snake. It wasn't, your gecko-eating snakes at all. It was a juvenile Philippine cobra. I'm going to make a whole new episode about that because it's really important for people to understand that even though you're afraid of snakes, they're really important for, I guess, the environment, especially in our area where rats are quite destructive. So snakes are important. That's going to be a whole new episode because I did manage to take some footage for that, but it would be something that's really important to discuss, and I'll discuss that later. But man, gave us the scare of our life. So even though these things are tiny, juvenile, right? Little babies. Oh my gosh. Standing up, hood spread, everything. And I'm just here like, I'm just here to get my plants. It's rainy season, so it's understandable that these guys need places dry to hide. I have a lot of arid plants growing there. So I have aloes, I have sansevierias, I have agaves growing in there. It's a dry area, and I like keeping my plants there because I keep a close eye on them. They're protected from the wind, the rain, but I also like to keep them there because the rats are destructive. They're destructive. If you watch my anthurium video, which is also going to be coming up, you'll see what they've done to my garden. These 2 guys were cut at the same time, and I have them in 2 different medias. I don't know if I planned it that way. I want to say that I had a lot of Pafcal left, but I didn't have any closed pots, containers to use. So I used regular aroid mix on this one, and I used Pafcal and leca on this one. Cut at the same time. This is a golden dragon narrow form, philodendron golden dragon narrow form. And this right here is a philodendron lime fiddle narrow form. And they look alike, there are stories about why they look alike, and it's just a story. This is not factual, okay? So what was said to me by a friend who is pretty well respected in the community is that these likely came from tissue cultures gone wrong. Yeah, but they're pretty neat plants. And the lime fiddle, although it has that weird mottled variegation, it's generally been accepted as being something that's harmless, but it is a pretty interesting plant and one that you don't see often. Yeah, very narrow, very cool guy. Anyway, both of these were top cuts. The bottom cuts, I have no idea where they are. I think they're out there in the greenhouse. I'm not sure, so I'm not even gonna claim to know where they are. I had several nodes on each one, and the thing is with these 2, I have them both out of the media. So the stem itself is not in the media and it's not getting wet. It's upright, it's out, and it's dried out at the bottom, which is fantastic. They have a lot of aerial roots. So the aerial roots were put in the potting media. Great, fantastic. The growth, a little bit different, even though they're thought to be closely related, okay? This guy, I went ahead and gave him some balloon sticks to give him stability because it kept moving and shaking. This guy is quite stable on its own, just because there were so many roots. Yeah, I have no idea why the growth pattern is different, other than possibly the fact that they're in different growing medias, right? This guy is growing in Pafcal and leca. This guy is growing in aroid mix. So we've got bark, we've got leaves, we've got pumice, we've got vermicast. Yeah, the works. They both have similar lighting conditions. So this is in the potting shed, which has a bamboo patch behind it. So there's a lot of, shade also when it's raining. This guy lives under a mango tree. A lot of shade there as well. So similar lighting conditions. Different watering conditions, because this guy's in Pafcal. I don't have to worry about him. This guy always needs to get watered when the top inch or 2 inches are dry. Yeah, kind of a problem, right? As far as feeding, I don't feed either of them. So that's not something that should be considered. I mean, in terms of the comparison between Pafcal and aroid mix. This guy seems to have grown a lot and massively. I mean, just massive plant. It's growing beautifully. It's got that dragon mask that makes it so easily identifiable. This guy is growing wonderfully too. You've got that narrow dagger looking leaf that's just wonderful. But it's not growing as fast as the one in Pafcal is. So that's what I said earlier in the episode. This is all anecdotal and all, experience based. The roots for this guy, for the lime fiddle narrow form, are all in its pot. Nothing's escaping. And it's got a lot of drainage holes at the bottom. I've got an extra pot in the middle just to make sure that there isn't a lot of water that's retained in the soil, in the mix. This guy gets watered when I remember. In the case of us going on vacation for 3 weeks, this was left at Mother Nature's mercy. This was left at, whatever condition we left it at. I think we watered a few days before, and he grew really well. I think I have some small leaves like this one right here. So that's one small leaf. But once we came back, it just started growing well again with the watering. And if you look around, the other plants in Pafcal are doing really well too. This is a Philodendron pedatum, red petiole. And if you look at it, I mean, the roots really truly are amazing. We've got a lot of green, a lot of white, just really amazing stuff. And that's the one that has a drainage hole. These two guys, let me put the Pafcal away, it needs it. So these two guys right here. This guy I got in 2020, and it was bad. It was in such bad shape, I tell you. It had maybe 2 leaves left, and at that point I was just sick and tired of it and threw it in Pafcal. And yeah, some really great roots. 2, 4, 6, 7 leaves. And this was just a few months ago that I did this, just because I was so tired of seeing it the way that it was. But man, these roots are going wild. This is a Philodendron Black Billy TA, by the way. Black Billy, really nice one. And I see the roots are growing even more secondary roots. It's just really happy. This pot doesn't have any drainage holes at the bottom. And sometimes there is a little bit of water that stays at the bottom, maybe an inch or so. It doesn't seem to bother them, to be honest. So this whole thing about pouring out all the water and everything, it doesn't bother the plants. So I'm not even worried about it. The roots are beautiful. And I see, what is this? Give me a second. Who are you? And what are you doing there? Hi, who is this? So I had a little node down there, and I have no idea what this is. I have a little node down there, and it's nicely rooted. It's got little roots here at the bottom, and it's doing well too. So like I said, even in closed conditions without any place for the water to get out, Pafcal works well too. This Amedria medium silver, I think I got it last year, so 2022. And I've since chopped it up and given a lot away as well. I have the mother plant that's still in my husband's greenhouse. It's just such a giving plant, and when you give it the right conditions, it won't whine, try to run away like this guy is. But everybody else seems to be doing really well. So again, another anecdotal experience. This guy right here, the Philodendron graciliae, what happened was it got knocked down in my husband's greenhouse, and I have a video of it, so I'll go ahead and show you what it looked like in all its glory. Really, really tall, but no pull. We didn't manage to get it a pull in time, but lots of new roots, and it was rootless when we put it in here. Yeah, just good stuff. And it's not even completely like in Pafcal. It's just there, if that makes any sense. It just enjoys the moisture, I guess, of the Pafcal in the pot. It's really good stuff. Now this plant over here, I've talked about it before in another episode where I talked about how I was watering and I guess I tipped it over and the mother plant fell apart and broke off, and this is it. So we've got some good leaves. It was doing really, really well until I forgot to water it for a long time, but it's really, really stable. A lot of roots here. It's hard to pull out of its pot, and I would take video of it, but it would be a waste of our time just because the roots are red and Pafcal's brown, so it won't show up very well. But it's doing really well. The mother plant is doing well as well. That one's in its original media. This was supposed to go to a friend, but when this thing had its little disappearing act, I kind of lost track, and I didn't want to give it to my friend until it was pretty again. And it's starting to be really pretty. Look at that beautiful velvet leaf. This guy, this guy is a pain in my side. Has always been, but doesn't look like it always will be. So this is one of the propagations from that 5-node Monstera Aurea that I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. What happened was, whatever media I would put it in, it would immediately melt. Melt. Yeah, it was not doing well. A little melty. But in Pafcal, it seems so happy. Look at the last 3 leaves, right? Decent. But the problem is, I can't take it out of Pafcal because it seems to like it too much. And I don't know. I might have to break this pot just to get the roots out. I will try putting it in a pot with drainage holes, but with Pafcal. And I'm thinking of giving it a pull, something stable to make the leaves better, but also something like this pot where I have a lot of pumice in the bottom. And the only reason I say, well, there are 2 reasons that I would say to add pumice to your Pafcal. And one is so that you don't use as much Pafcal. Pafcal is expensive. In terms of trying to find it and trying to source it and having it shipped, it's expensive. I should quantify that by saying it's expensive in terms of other mixes, stuff that you could get at Home Depot or at any garden center. It's expensive just because it's not mass produced or mass marketed. It's not available everywhere. So I go ahead and I mix pumice into my Pafcal just to kind of save up on Pafcal, and it's working wonderfully, as you can see by this lush little black billet, right? Really nice. This guy, like I said at the beginning of the episode, is in Leca and Pafcal, working really, really well. I think that might be a good way to go forward, to be honest. This guy is not. This guy is in pure Pafcal, and meh. I mean, the roots look great. They're white. There are a lot of them. I mean, it's giving me, hi, can you let go of your sibling, please? It's giving me long aerial roots as well. It doesn't want to do anything. So I think I might move it to a bigger pot with pumice and Pafcal, and I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you guys updated on Instagram how that's working out. My Pafcal journey isn't ended. I am actually enjoying what I'm seeing. I would recommend using Pafcal for people who need a little something extra, I guess. You have a difficult plant that you don't know what to do and you're at your wit's end. Try Pafcal. give it a try. I don't think I've had anything die in Pafcal yet. No, I take it back. No, that was a propagation in moss. For my difficult plants, I definitely use Pafcal, and I would recommend it if you're at your wit's end. Number 2, I would recommend it if you're going on vacation. Like I said, I went on a 3-week vacation. This guy was a little bit thirsty and grew a smaller leaf, as you can see here, compared to the leaf previous. Oh, and this leaf. So it got 2 small leaves. After coming back and giving it water, the leaves grew back to normal size. Humongous. If you need something to hold your plants, to keep it moist and happy while you're gone, Pafcal might be the thing. And I guess number 3 is it's cost effective. So according to the website, you could use Pafcal for 10 years if you don't mix it with any organic materials. So that's the caveat, right? Is you only mix it with inorganic stuff. Think about it in terms of long term. If you have another plant that's outgrown its pot, it already has its Pafcal, so you don't have to do much except put it in its new pot and add more Pafcal. And that's it. The savings are even greater if you add pumice or leca. Because since this is long term, since we're talking about 10 years or so, you don't have to change your media often. Only times I could think you would need to change your media is if you have like some sort of pest problem, which I also surprisingly have not experienced with plants in Pafcal. So I don't know if there's a correlation there. So those are my 3 reasons as to why and to who I would recommend these for. 1, people who actually have difficult plants that they're almost giving up on. 2, people who need the extra help. Whether you're going through an episode or you're going on vacation, if you cannot pay attention to your plants and you know that you can't, it's coming, stick them in some Pafcal and it'll help. Water them until you get back, until you're ready for them. And then number 3, it's kind of weird and odd, but cost effective. It's cost effective, guys, just because you don't have to repot often. You don't have to switch soil medias often. You don't have to go out and run to the store and buy, media every year, every 2 years. It's good for 10 years as long as you don't add any organic materials to it. Hi, leaf, what are you doing here? I know I said it's hard to find and it's expensive because it's difficult to find, but I do have a friend. See, we should all have these friends, right? But I do have a friend who actually is importing Pafcal into the Philippines, and he will be releasing this soon, which I'm really excited about because, Pafcal is like gold right now. The name of the shop, if you're here in the Philippines, or if you're not even, I think it could probably ship. The name of the shop is Nodes in Foliage. They are on Facebook and on Instagram, and their prices are fantastic. We bought our 1,000 gram bag of Pafcal from Midori in Singapore for gosh, how much was that? Let me check. Here we go. We bought it for $44. Yeah. So Midori Singapore was selling it for $44 for 1 kilogram. So that's 1,000 grams. They had a discount code at the time, so it brought our total down to $40.48. That's Singapore dollars, okay? Shipping for this was $30. Ouch. This 1 kilogram bag of Pafcal chips, 1,000 grams, came out to $70.48. That's in Singapore dollars, friends. So, gosh, I can't even tell you what it is off the top of my head. 70.48 SGD to USD, and we are talking about $52 for a bag of Pafcal. Ouch! So much ouch. Yeah. My friend Jojo at Nodes and Foliage will probably be selling this for much cheaper. Yeah, it looks like they will be. I'm not going to get ahead of them, but I will tell you that much cheaper. It's much cheaper for us. I don't know what it's going to calculate into in terms of shipping, or if they have bulk pricing. That might be something to consider as well, because they've got tons of it, tons of the stuff. I'll go ahead and flash their name again at the bottom of the screen. If you're interested in buying Pafcal, check out my friend Jojo at Nodes and Foliage on Facebook and on Instagram. And, you know, shoot them a quick message. Maybe they could help you out with your Pafcal needs. So, yeah, this is my Pafcal update episode. Short and sweet, guys. Short and sweet. So, if you have any questions for me, feel free to put them in the comment section. I try to get back to you guys on a weekly basis. I am swamped with some questions I guess some people are shy to comment in the comment section, so I get messages on Facebook and on Instagram, and I'm trying to get to all of you guys. So just leave me a comment if you're not too shy, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If this video was helpful, feel free to give it a like. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Click that notification bell so that you get notified of my Philippine Cobra episode. And for my Anthurium episode. So that one I'm going to be filming right after this, immediately after this, because that was another request. If you can't get enough of me on YouTube, check me out on Facebook. I'm there as Tasteful Nodes. Finally, if you just want to look at pretty pictures, videos, check me out on Instagram. I'm there as Tasteful Nodes as well. Okay guys, until next time, so uulitin, keep growing, keep blooming, and keep your nodes classy and tasteful. Okay, bye.